the Ravens continue to be an enigma to me. Like, Baltimore is too good on paper to not be competitive against great teams, and they just can't get it rolling when they take on good teams. I don't want to take anything away from Jalen Carter, for example, who we all saw was disruptive in the middle. That's who he is. But, man, this is a Ravens team that I've spent, every 3-4 weeks on this show, I sit here and say, well, they can beat you in every way offensively. What are you going to take away? And today I kept thinking, man, nothing looks easy for them offensively. So, for me, I'm looking at this saying, for all the conversation of who's going to win the North, the Ravens this year were supposed to be on the same level as the Chiefs and the Bills. I don't think they are. I think they're clearly a step below those two teams.
Yeah, 5 losses. I mean, however you got there, and they've had some weird losses, right? Some fluky losses. Some losses of good teams. Like there's no shame in losing to the Eagles. Like the Eagles are really good, but it adds up. And again, you have 5 losses, and all of a sudden, the Steelers really created a distance between you and them in the AFC North. You're right. Like, this was just not an easy game for the Ravens. It looked like it was going to be. Like, again, they jumped out to the big lead, and you're like, okay, well, like you said, the Ravens can do whatever they want offensively. They have the MVP quarterback. They have an offensive player of the year candidate at running back. They could do things however you want. Mark Andrews had that awesome catch in the end zone, and you're like, okay, it's a Ravens day. And then it just stopped. Like, that was it. And I attribute that to the Eagles defense. But we also have to look at the Ravens as a whole and say, why does this team only 8-5? Like, that's really odd. Like, as crazy as it sounds to say it, it's disappointing, isn't it? Like, given how good Lamar has played this year, given how much Derrick Henry's given to that defense, to sit here with 5 losses at this point and not be hopelessly behind the Steelers by any means. They can still catch them, but you'd have to pick the Steelers to win the division right now. Like, you just have to. So I think it's been because they're an analytics darling, and rightfully so. They're very good, especially on offense. For them to lose a game like this and like you said, not really be competitive after that hot start, like, they pretty much got blown out after that. After it was 9-zip, they got blown out. And also, what we need something we need to talk about, which I did not expect to be talking about. Justin Tucker is kind of a problem for them right now, and Justin Tucker is the best in first 10 years, let's say, of Justin Tucker's career. He's the best kicker I've ever seen. Like, I've always said this. You can find me on Twitter. I've said this multiple times, I know. When Justin Tucker was like off center a little bit on his kicks, it was like, whoa, what happened? Like, it's when Steph Curry like doesn't hit all net on a 3. Like, it was like, whoa, he was like almost closer to upright that time. And now Justin Tucker's just missing kicks all the time. He missed 3 today. The Ravens have to have a serious conversation about, do we need another kicker? I don't know that necessarily means cutting Justin Tucker. He's incredible. He was at a Hall of Fame level. He's become a problem for them. So the Ravens are the type of team to get in the playoffs, make a run. We all know that. But right now, again, 8-5, you kind of are who your record says you are.
Yeah, and that Justin Tucker thing, like, look, I'll take a lap here on FFL Fantasy Football Live this morning. I was asked one of my top fantasy storylines for this game, and I said, you can't trust Justin Tucker. So for years, if you're a fantasy football player and you've just put Tucker in and you've relied on deep kicks to get you points, ain't going to happen here. And the problem that I expressed on FFL that we saw tonight is once you see the crack in the armor for Tucker, it changes the whole way your play calling goes, because you can't really just look at it and say, hey, we're going to throttle it back and we're going to make sure, well, let's just get a field goal out of this. Like, that's not a given. Like, for Philadelphia, it is a given that they know that they're in 4-down territory half the game, because 4th and 1, 4th and 2 is tush push. For the Ravens, for a generation, once you cross about the 40-yard line, you're getting 3, getting at least 3. Now you don't know that anymore. You don't know any of these kicks are going to be a given for him. So I think it's absolutely it's shocking to see. And you're right. They need to address the kicker. Like, at some point, it doesn't matter what you've done. It matters what you're doing right now. I don't know how you can try and go down a stretch playoff run or into the playoffs in what likely will be a road game with bad weather with a kicker you can't trust to make basic field goals.
Yeah, it's like to your point, like, if you're in a playoff game, a tie playoff game, and you're at the 33-yard line and it's the last minute, I guess you send out Tucker, but you don't feel very good about it. You might be like, boy, it's 4th and 2. Maybe we need to go for this. Like, that's like you said, it affects everything you do offensively. Like, you watch the Dallas Cowboys now, and they're a train wreck in many ways, but they know once we get from like midfield, we're basically kicking we have 3 points in our pocket. Now what do we do on offense after we know that? The Ravens used to be like that, and they're sure not anymore. And even after one of Tucker's makes, like, they showed him like right up in his helmet, one of the close-ups, and he had this look on his face, like he was even like Boy, it just seemed like he's in his head completely, and I don't know what's going on with Justin Tucker. None of us do, but it kind of sucks to watch it because for so many years, Justin Tucker, as crazy as it is to say about a kicker, he's just fun to watch. Like he was so good at what he did. To watch him kind of lose it like this is kind of it's a little like, what's going on here? What could have caused this? And it's like you said, for a playoff level team like the Ravens are, there's a real issue they have to address. Like whether it's going and finding another kicker and deactivating Tucker, cutting him. Like I don't think that's going to happen, but anything has to be on the table for the Ravens now that they've seen just he's not getting out of this slump he's in.